Okay, remember that they are changing my voice. This video is about Zionist conceptions of romantic justice, which are obviously false, right? Only universal romantic justice is valid. LGBT conceptions and satanic conceptions, more obviously satanic, because all the other conceptions are satanic, because they're leading you away from the way. The one way to be romantically just is universal romantic justice, right? Who would have thought? You know, and it doesn't involve putting whites or Jews magically first, right? That's sick. That's stupid. These are the main colonists. We have no reason to believe that God set them apart to magically lead or to control dating, okay? That's stupid. Only monsters let them control them. It's not racist to say it. It's just how it is. If we look at the Jewish people, when we analyze them very carefully, we do not see a single sign that they're meant to rule, you know, all of humanity. It's just not there. Same with white people. It's not there. Right? Jim Carrey, George Bush, you know, the Pope, it's not there. And you people are being quote unquote polite to a fault. And it's very stupid, very stupid. You think it's polite to let Lex Luthor lead you because he's being polite because he's a corporate person with corporate manners? It's very stupid. So the Zionist has a nearly identical problem as the white supremacists. They disproportionately affect governance, but they do not necessarily have more power on the global stage, as one cannot easily define white and Jewish, if for nothing else. Jupiter and Juno, right? Juju, Jupiter and Juno, Juju, right? Are Zeus and Hera. They're the Roman equivalents of Zeus and Hera. And they are key progenitors of the modern white race and the modern Jewish and crypto-Jew race. Crypto-Jewish race. Controlling reproduction is a very foolish mistake, especially when they have artificial intelligence, gene modification, brain hacking, and countless technologies that are unnaturally altering the genes of people in a way that is irreversible and for the worse. So for many reasons, when you work the angles there, it is not a good idea for anybody to control reproduction except for me and within the boundaries of universal pinpointed moral precision and in a very public way if it was to ever to come to that. If I ever rose to power and people started following me and they just couldn't understand what romantic justice is for the life in which is ridiculous, that'd be a very sad day. Then I'd have to put some laws in place, right? Heaven's mandate. I have to put some rules into place until they get it. And no, it wouldn't favor any race. I'm not a racial supremacist. I am disgusted by the idea of racial supremacists. I'm a moral supremacist. Okay. Where are we here? Without romantic justice in dating, one just has shallow and evil relationships, marriages, and families. The spirit and actions of love are not found in their groupings. They're not found in Zionist groupings and will not be found in the world after I die. That's why in the Bible it says the voice of bride and bridegroom will never be heard in you again. The peoples of the earth are synonymous with Babylon. They're synonymous with the earth itself. That's how it's used figuratively in the Bible. That's a story for another day, but that's why it says that. It's been known for a long time by many groups of people that there will come a time when love just doesn't exist because of the evil breeding practices of society and how they don't define love correctly. They define it incorrectly. Redefining love just makes bigger fools out of them, right? When they say, well, let's just pretend this, and this, and da-da, it's stupid. They become like the Walking Dead just because they want to embrace their complexes instead of being mature and disciplined. They whore the masses of females and look like completely perverted monsters as they do. Now again, I can't stress this enough. You can tell for the most part when you see people, in the vast majority of cases, right away, to what degree they're complicit with controlling reproduction, right? Are they rich? Are they a corporate person? Are they in the military? Are they in the government? Okay, you can tell. Are they politically active? Who are they? Who, what, when, where, how, why? So, you know, again, it's not just Jews doing it. Point number 4. And I'll also debate you on that anytime you want. I'll debate you on the argument of, is it just Jews doing it? My stance is no, it's not just Jews doing it, but they are disproportionately doing it, especially if you believe that only 15 million or so people in the world are Jewish. My goodness, think about how much influence they have. All right, point number 4, or the fourth group here, the LGBT people. Now, before I begin this, I want to say no offense to the LGBT community, okay? These things have to be said. I'm the son of 2 doctors. Both of them don't want me to make videos. I'm being fumed and provoked all the time. These things have to be said. This is what you need to hear. This is what needs to be said. Someone is not helping you if they don't tell you the truth about these things. No one has a viable counter-argument for these things, nor do they have a viable counter-argument for the fact that they should be said, and that's what's best for everyone, including and especially the LGBT community. So let's get into this. LGBT people do not understand what straight people need to live a worthwhile life. There's a spectrum there. To some degree they do, to some degree they don't. And that statement becomes fair enough to say when you study that idea carefully. If they did, they would not be LGBT. The evidence is overwhelming and conclusive. So I made a list of points here. I think I got I have 13 points here. It just happened to end up on 13. I don't do number play. I don't do word play. So point number 1. Homosexuality is not just a sexual orientation. It is a profane, that is a godless, right? Profane, pro-fake, godless state of being and state of mind. Okay, that's important to note. It's not the only one. Being a player is a godless state of mind. Being a porn star is a godless state of mind. Being from the wrong religion, right? Not being from a different philosophy or religion than universal pinpoint and moral precision. Okay, refusing to obey God through me creates godless states of mind. But it's important to note that if you are gay, you are not going to achieve you are not going to achieve a divine state of mind, because that's the nature of it, right? Gay means like careless. It's like happy and giddy and silly and goofy. Look at a gay parade. That's what it means. It means to be profane and silly and goofy. That's the nature of that sexual orientation. That's the nature of that lifestyle, philosophy, this grouping of philosophies, grouping of state of mind, what have you, states of mind. So point number 2, it is a sin. You can see Leviticus, what have you. Point number 3, they are one of the main groups that are responsible for 9 million people starving to death a year and dying of hunger-related issues. Okay, they exert an inordinate amount of influence on politics and social life. The effects of the core LGBT people who are really responsible for those things, okay, and the complicity with those things trickle down to the entire LGBT community. I say to the LGBT community, come out of the rainbow spirit. Run, not walk, to stop being an LGBT person and define yourself as a morally precise person, and give up putting that first. Give up your complicity with that. How could sex be more important than morality? Serial rapists think sex is more important than reality and their sexual habits and beliefs. Child molesters, pedophiles, rapists in general, porn stars, just idiots think that. So don't be yoked, as they say, yoked, on board, part and partial, complicit. Or complicity is a play on words, is for come place at city. The city of Babylon, the empire of Babylon. Babylon as an unruly woman. Babylon as the prostitute. Mystery Babylon. Point number 4. They do disgusting sexual things and has no logical application. Now, it's sad that, they made it so I have to kind of clear my throat being fumed here. And their gays are part of the people who are watching me. It's sad that they want to, resist me on this, but when we look at this situation, right, we say, well, when you're heterosexual, in nature, it's for the purpose of reproduction, right? So there has a logical application. You can't be gay and have love, right? So love is for heterosexual people, like true love. Okay, you can't be childish, right? Baby line and gay, giddy, silly, goofy, Babylon, baby line, Rothschild, Nicole Kidman, kid, right? Hollywood, occult. You can't be childish. The Joker, the Riddler, some giddy little punk. You can't be a silly fool and have something as serious and grace-filled and moral and righteous and just as love. It can't be done. That's just being a child playing childish games. You are kidding, right? Kid, goat, baby line. Okay. Now I could go into detail about those acts there, but I'm not going to do that. Partially because it's sick, partially because I'm trying to show them some respect here. Point number 5. Being an LGBT person is dishonorable traditionally and historically. Right? Naturally, what did human beings think about it? Well, people got killed for it. It's in the Old Testament. You get stoned to death for it. Okay, they weren't in Africa. They got killed for it. The Middle East. There's some places where it really took root, right? In Crete, in Greece, in Rome, and as the story goes, around the Jordan, Jordan River, Canaan, what have you, in the Middle East. There's places where it's said to have taken root, but it was few and far between, and it's safe to say people frowned on it, to say the least. Okay. So point number 6, they do not insist on moral precision historically or currently. Point number 7, they do not do enough about child molestation while the LGBT community has a disproportionate amount of child molesters in it. You do the math there, you'll see. They try to put out their own statistics, but the math speaks for itself. Just like with climate change, something like that, global warming, the climate is changing. Global warming is probably occurring. Okay, they've made it very difficult to truly understand. I mean, the things are getting hotter for one reason or another. Whether it's government technology, whether the sun is hotter at some moments, there's all kinds of theories as to why that is. Okay, one thing's for sure is pollution is not a good idea. You got to, reducing pollution is a good idea. Polluting recklessly and carelessly is not a good idea. Anyone who's been to New York or LA or to China probably is very familiar with why that is. A lot of the reasons why that is. Okay, so point number 8. Even though there's an overwhelming amount of evidence, especially these days, they deny that there's a gay agenda. When I was younger, it was said that 2 to 5% of people were LGBT people. Now, LGBT people tend to have a certain way about them. They tend to have a certain shape, a certain look, what have you. When I look back at the different high schools and colleges I went to, maybe 1% of the people there back in the 90s, what have you, the high schools, colleges, maybe 1% of people, early 2000, were gay. Maybe. But I do believe it might very well be this 2 to 5% was actually the real number. Okay, 2 to 5% of males, gay, bisexual. However, in recent years, some studies have said of these new generations, something like 1 in 4, like 25%. Why would there be 5 times as many LGBT people? When confronted with this, the best the LGBT community could do is they say that, well, as it's become more accepted, that people started coming out of the closet. Man, is that bullshit. That's like saying the reason why all the women are hookers, to such a large degree, is as it's become accepted, they started to hook. Now, there's some small amount of truth to that. But the main reason they're hookers has to do with socioeconomic issues. It has to do with drug addiction. It has to do with being turned out by pimps. The main reason people are hookers, if you're going to nail it to one thing, right, you're going to narrow it down to one main thing, it's because they're turned out. And the main reason people are LGBT in large numbers, now some are born with those inclinations, mind you, but the main reason they're LGBT in large numbers is because they're turned out. Now, if you're LGBT, I want you to ask yourselves, is it really fair to turn people out and to make them like an LGBT hooker in their own right, as they've sold their decency for an unnatural orientation that is not natural to them? Is that really fair? Sometimes they're turned out as children. They've done studies and they found that some of these guys who get molested in the church, they start questioning their sexual orientation, and it often leads them to become gay. Gays looked at that Many gays who are satanic. Some gays are against it. Some gays are adamantly against it. Shout out to the gays who are adamantly against it, who know this has to be said. Some gays who worship the devil and who are inclined to be evil, whether they think they worship the devil or not, they looked at the numbers and said, hey, if 1 in 10 or 1 in 20 of these kids who are molested in the Boy Scouts at church by their stepfathers, wherever they're molested, if they then end up turning gay or bisexual, they said that's going to create more gay people and a stronger base, politically and otherwise. Now, people should choose to be leftists because there's nothing good to be found in conservatism. Conservatism is a very toxic philosophy. Never in the history of the West has conservatism ever been a good thing. It was always evil. I challenge you to show me a time in Western history where conservatism was a good thing. You can't do it. You know, the Roman conservatives were scum. The Greeks, no matter where you look, French, English, they were always bad guys, greedy guys, white supremacists, white cultural imperialists, horrible people who try to make it seem like it's magically natural to be what is pure evil, which is a white cultural imperialist or a white supremacist. I mean, unbelievable that anyone's that dumb to actually commit to that course, just dumb. You look at Charlie Kirk, for example. Part of him seems like he means well or something. But make no mistake, he has a dumb white supremacist look on his face, and he is a slave to white supremacy, and it is pitiful. I'm sure we can all agree that this has to be said. I feel more sorry for disabled people than anyone who's ever lived. I have more compassion and mercy for them. But let's face the facts here. If you are slightly disabled and you're a white supremacist, you have no business trying to exert influence in society. But to be fair, and I'm always going to be fair, there's some good that comes from it because he gives me that priceless point of reference to point to and say, hey, that guy embodies what's wrong with conservatism. Take a good look at him. Him, Ron DeSantis, Donald Trump, Vance, look at them. What are they doing? Why are they doing it? Look at Howard Lutnick. Part of him is a pretty cool guy, but he's possessed by white supremacy. He's possessed by Jewish supremacy. He's possessed by the Greco-Roman system, which includes a spectrum of LGBT supremacy and expression, including on the right. They basically look like LGBT circus influenced conservatives. Think about it. Look at the circus, look at the gay parade, look at Freemasonry with their aprons, look at that kind of gayish way about them, and look at how conservatives often come out. Okay. And always connect gay to goofy. The G in Masonry is not just the G, the earth deity, it's also for goofy idiot. It's also for gay, wash, punk, what have you. And I'm not insulting gays right now. I'm trying to help you understand that it is not okay to sneak homosexuality into people's lives. Okay? Be very open about these things. Be fair and just and right. All right. Point number 9, they are often social norm fanatics and very unfocused. That's part of what it means to be in a gay state of mind, to be unfocused. A lot of times those people say that they don't want people to take things seriously. What happens if you don't take things seriously? Before you know it, there's 800,000 homeless people, including like 120,000 children or whatever the number is. It's over 100,000 on the streets. Maybe like 6,000 of them completely on their own. And no one takes things seriously enough to do anything about it. 9 million people starve to death in the world, but because people are too busy trying to pump someone's ass, no one takes it seriously enough to rally to try to solve it. Because it's part of their kill rates. It's part of their turnout rates. It's part of their despicable long-term process to forge a satanic white, Jewish, and LGBT supremacy world with token minorities inevitably helping them as they are familiar spirits to them. Point number 10. The overwhelming evidence that we see in LGBT culture screams that they are one of the main groups responsible for ruining dating, the movies, and life in general. When you see LGBT people everywhere, okay, all over the news, movies suck. It's like gay people mocking movies. Music sucks. Gay people mocking music. Sports sucks. Bunch of gay-shaped clowns in sports, okay, with a kind of crypto Jew look to them. Okay, no offense to Jews or gays. Let's face it. If they were black people, I'd say the same thing. Some degree they're whites, and I'm part white. If they were mulatto, I'd say the same thing. If they're white, I'd say the same thing. If they looked exactly like me, I'd say the same damn thing. Because I put God before race, etc. Think about it. Before you get mad at me, think very carefully. Is it important to say these things? Yes. It's even called a mistake. I'm the bridegroom, Christ the bridegroom, and you caused attractive women to shun me. What for? If I was dating somebody, I've dated people before, would it lead me to overthrowing the New World Order? No. So why do you want attractive females to shun me? It is a mistake and a mystery ache. It's a pain in the back. As you give each other a pain in the ass, you're making a mistake and a mistake. And you're also mistaking your opportunity. Your offspring won't have the opportunity to take the path to heaven. So they miss that take as well. Missing out out of this world, not into it. Out of the construct, not embracing it. Transcending, not conforming. Point number 11. In the end, are they scrambling to make sure everyone knows I am here now? That it is immoral to reproduce, even though their positions in society are secure? Are they scrambling to do those things? They know they won't compete with me or people who think like me in the future. There's no social, political, economic, or sexual competition with people who think like me in the future. So are they scrambling to make sure that people know, hey, this is it. This is the last boat out. The solar boat is leaving. There won't be another one. He is the gate, the door, the way. Are they scrambling to make sure people know that? Or are they just like tough luck and saying, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, or however the fuck they say it? Point number 12. The most famous serial killers are disproportionately LGBT. The Night Stalker was pushing back. Gacy, the clown, right? The guy who raped those little kids, he was stuffing. Ted Bundy looked like he pushed with the best, from what I'm told, from the LGBT community. So I don't know who does it better than who or whatever. You know, I'm trying to make it a little comic relief. It's a very serious issue. Dahmer. It wasn't enough for him to pump ass. He wanted to eat motherfuckers too. Okay? For those of you who need to hear it like a black comedian or something, mixed with me being bitter, there you go. Wake up and smell the coffee. Don't put a bunch of sugar in it till you're disassociated. Don't drink too much of it. Don't drink any of it at all. But certainly, so to speak, wake up and smell the coffee. Point number 13. Think of all the LGBT rapes in prison. What do they show us? You think in prison when these gay guys are raping a grown man, a gang member who can bench, say, 300 pounds, throw haymakers at people and knock out a bull or an ox or an elephant, so to speak? When a monstrous, just a massive gay person puts hands on them and violates them, you think they're playing patty cake. You think they're singing Kumbaya. No, these are very violent rapists. Among the gay community are some of the most violent rapists in history. People who get themselves mentally prepared to rape a grown man. In Greece and Rome, they had Greco-Roman wrestling, where they would wrestle naked. The word grapple is a play on words for G, rape, G being the earth deity. They literally had some of their war arts and their hand-to-hand combat techniques designed to rape other males and people in general. I mean, that is some sick fucking shit. I mean, come on. You disagree? I mean, give me a break here. Look it up. Look up naked Roman wrestling. It's not like two guys did it and everyone made a big deal about it. Tons of people did it. Okay, point number 5. And again, I'm not trying to, instill hatred for the gay community. These are the facts. People should organize peacefully to address these things. I'm against senseless violence. Again, I am against senseless violence. Point number 5, Satanists are run by white, Jewish, and LGBT occultists, and their spirit is gay. So this is the 5th group. At the last group, we're going to shoot through this real quickly here. This is obvious. Why do Satanists not have romantic justice? And what the hell? I never thought I'd have to explain that growing up. They mock themselves and their families like rockers. The word rocker rhymes with mocker for a reason. And metalheads. They know they are wrong and that no Satanist in the history of the world is respectable or was respectable. And even now, many lie about being Satanists as it is such a disgusting thing to be. Think about that. One of the few philosophies out there that people lie about having. And it's particularly because it's such a pathetic thing to be and to have. One should not have to explain why in every category of true dating they fail miserably. The elite's philosophy is best seen as satanic as they ignore the obvious ways to be moral and continue playing their evil game while they are full of greed. Fabricating evidence and relying on the reputation of institutions and scientific groups is just a pathetic abuse of worldly power. So they say, well, we've done studies. Well, Bill Gates has given like $100 billion plus to his foundation. I think it was his father or something was a president of Planned Parenthood. Okay, now in the midst of their very diabolical agenda and covering their tracks, I'm sure they do good work there. I'm sure they claim that they've kept a lot of these young children from dying before a certain age. If that is true and it is fair to commend them for it, then I applaud that and I commend them for it. But where their agenda is insidious, where it is devious and disgusting, I very much rebuke them for it. All throughout history, all kinds of madmen with lots of power have thrown the poor a bone. What is their sum total work? Why did they embrace evil at all? These are important questions. And we see the social engineering of the world is disgusting and despicable. As in a country with 22.5 million millionaires and billionaires, they've turned their backs on the Son of God. And they are part and partial with the sabotage, the financial sabotage of the Son of God. Why a bunch of rapists, child rapists and their allies might say something like, hey, we're running an experiment on them. Don't interfere. Does it have to be written in the Bible or the Torah or the Quran that if the Messiah comes back and the government says, don't do what he says because we're experimenting on him, that you should tell the government to go to hell and you should feel extreme righteous anger, and your anger should be aimed at them and everyone else who's a sinner? Does that have to be written in a book for you to understand that? And so I reject that argument with a lot of bitterness in my heart. Okay. Everyone knows Satanism is wrong and that Satanists are often sarcastic and they refuse to be rational where it matters most. And again, rationality is the quality of being rational. Rational. Ra, shun, lay. Ra in Hebrew is evil. Ra, as described by the Greeks in the West in terms of Egyptian mythology, refers to the sun as the symbol of God. And the Bible says, woe to you who call good evil and evil good, especially when it comes to God. As they worship Baal and Asherah and Chemosh and Molech and so on and so forth. So again, being rational means being guided by reason. Being guided by reason, logic, and good judgment. It encompasses the ability to think clearly, make sound decisions, and form accurate beliefs based on evidence. Now consider the senses, observations, non-biased research. Again, non-biased research, not the garbage they put out these days, and the Eurocentric garbage they put out in the past, but non-biased. For the most part, you can tell which research is which, but to some degree you can't, which is the end of science as you know it. And just, they're still going to be doing experiments and doing things, but you can't trust them on so many issues. Think about how technology, breeding, cheating, and generational ill-gotten gains have ruined things. So let's end this by talking about why I am the authority. When Christ in the Bible was questioned about why he's healing on the Sabbath, he said, "You fools," not in these words, "I am the Lord of the Sabbath. But if you pea-brained idiots need me to make examples, I'll make some examples. When David and his companions violated the Sabbath, no Jewish scribe or rabbi said, hey, he's not supposed to do that. It was fair enough. And how many of you wouldn't rescue your donkey on the Sabbath if it fell into a ditch and things of this nature? They actually needed examples to explain to them why Jesus was right to heal on the Sabbath. Very silly, very immature, very stupid that they saw it that way. He said, the Son of Man is the Lord of the Sabbath. I am the Lord of the Bible. I am the Lord of the Ten Commandments. I am the Lord of the message from God. I am God's Son. God is greater, but I am the Lord of these things. Point number 2. When Moses broke the Ten Commandments, wouldn't you consider that more serious than saying that the Bible is invalid? Moses saw these people misbehaving, and he broke the Ten Commandments, said, you idiots, you fools, you imbeciles, you monsters. At one point in the story, he tells, I believe, the Levites to get together and to strap a sword and to start killing a bunch of Jews for their evil behavior. Very similar to stoning people to death for sin, but a mass punishment. There's also the issue of the ceremonial washing. When Jesus declares, I believe in Mark 7, he declares that you no longer have to avoid shellfish and pork, okay? That it's what comes from the person's heart out of their mouth defiles them, not the food that they eat. And so there was no divine need to wash their hands as well. Okay, however, you should wash your hands, obviously. So, I am the Lord of the Sabbath. I am the Lord of the Ten Commandments. I am the Lord of the rules. And certainly, I'm the Lord of the Bible. I'm the Lord of the temple. I am the one God assigned to rule over the human race. But God is greater. I'm God's right hand. It's the parable of the 10 minas, the bags of gold. I did what I'm supposed to do. You people didn't do what you're supposed to do. And I'm the top martial arts, and the one God set apart is Christ. You have no business trying to correct me on divine matters. However, in my infinite fair play and mercy, I allow people to debate me within reason. I allow people to give their opinions. I am the fair and righteous judge. I do so to perfect my rulings, because that is the divine process that the Bible confuses to some degree. I do so for the same reason I would spar over the years, to refine myself and my soul. And when these cowards are tail tucked and they sabotage me and refuse to debate me publicly, they refuse to weigh in, the gap, which is already infinitely great, increases more, in a sense at least. Thank you.